afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, ImperialDane, Master Propaganda here of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We are here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Lost Glider. Between the south, we got here ImperialDane fighting for the Oberkommando West, Deutschland. Taking on the road here of the 23rd Panzer Division. Whereas in the north, we got Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, that we're just referring to him as Tolstoy, fighting here for the Soviet Union. And fighting here for the 85th Rifle Division. We've got here Breakthrough, Luftwaffe, and Fortification versus Armored Assault, Guard Rifle, and Shock Motor. So a bit of mix of things there, with infantry bullets on both sides, and also slightly more towards Sturm Pioneers and Obersoldaten. Kuhwagen here with Volkskriegs moving up, heading hard for the west. We got engineers rushing down the centre, Conscripts up the eastern side there, with Conscripts preparing to absolutely on the west side, going for the victory point. In fact, looks like he might be going straight for my cut-off point. On a map like Lost Glider, just going straight for these cut-off points tends to be common. Some players honestly could try to sort of play towards instead, you know, for the other sides here, being a bit harder to cut off in a sense. There you go, straight for the cut-off point. Kuhwagen moving up here, grabbing territory. Volkskriegs on the way here. Already expecting it to have to defend here, so my plan was to set up some sandbags right about there, but that's not going to happen, so Sturmpass will have to double over there as well. Conscripts getting points there. Moving up towards the west here, third Conscript on the way. And got more Volksgrenadiers on the way as well here. He's pushed back there in the face of the Volksgrenadiere. In this case, I'm expecting him to rush through infantry here, so I'm doubling up the Sturm Pioneers, not to support here. When instead, actually, will try and cut off any reinforcements towards his attack ramming cut point, but there's actually no one there. More Volksgrenadier riding there for Germany, for the 23rd Panzer Division. They're taking some light hits, and moving up instead. I'm basically thinking, well, why not return the favour to him, go for his cut-off point instead. If he's got nothing there, that means he's probably focused elsewhere. And meanwhile, he's pushing up the east-west there. Kuhwagen spotting the Conscript there. He might in fact be converging around here as well, slowly. Units are taking a few hits, going for the cut-off point there. Almost got it, in fact. And there we go. Kuhwagen rushing away from there. Don't want to be fighting there. Units continue taking a bit of damage. He might soon pop them out. There we go, further losses. Sergeant Petrov, with his dying breath, urges his men to get out of there, and they do. Sturmpass going straight for the fuel point here, basically trying the harassment there towards Tolstoy. Conscripts up here in the open, Sturmpass moving in, Kuhwagen up support, and Volkskriegs moving support as well here. Also centre, of course, at least on west side open, and of course the cut-off point open again. We got more Conscripts there for Tolstoy. He's up to 4. He's bombing to the building, so just ignore that. Not going to waste my Kuhwagen on that, so just going to grab some territory. More Volkskriegs up. They got Conscripts up here as well. Some heavy intense fighting in the early games, minutes in the game. Out in the open, they're going to try and focus down his Conscripts here. Well, they're going to be the easier targets for my Wrath, and there you go, going for the fuel point. Nasty play there, but effective. Volkskriegs there bleeding out slowly in service of Deutschland. And there you go, Kuhwagen returning here, basically realising he might have a chance of getting some hits in. More Volkskriegs there arriving, Conscripts out in the open, taking hits, Sturmpass moving up as well. And there we go, trying to aim a bit for a wipe here, but sadly that does not work out. We got more Conscripts moving in there. Centre point grab there, and Sturmpass moving up here trying to deal some damage. Volkskriegs on the retreat, and Sturmpass getting focused down, but almost got the fuel point there for Germany. And there we go, Conscripts taking some losses, Volkskriegs being pushed back there. Fuel point there secured, he's taking down sandbags to help defend it versus me. Nasty but effective. Nasty but effective. Chuck arriving here for Germany, the Schwerer. They are much Schlepper, Kuhwagen running back there towards the victory point, going to grab that. I mean, overall, while he's denying me fuel, I'm also returning the favour to him, so that way he can't build up a fuel advantage, neither can I. So a lot of exchanges of infantry and territory between the two sides, quickly pushing onwards here in the meanwhile. Troops back for reinforcement, going to go for the mechanised regiment. Currently I'm not finding the battle group headquarters to be of much use personally. The flak half-track, bit too temperamental to sort of be effective, I feel. So generally at the moment I'm just go for the mechanised regiment, Lux or Puma, depending on what I expect my opponent to go for. Sandbags up here to help defend the point a bit. Folks moving up there. I've kept seeing something ping up here in the main map, so I was worried he was trying to flank about. There was nothing. Instead, pushing there for the centre with the engineers. What now being grabbed? Kuhwagen running back and up here. 3 Conscript squads standing about. I mean, if you sort of look at what he's currently playing at, I mean, he could easily go, for example, for guard rifle. He'd go for a lot of submachine guns, hit the dirt. That would definitely increase the lethality there of his conscripts by quite a margin already. Volkskriegs is Sturmpass heading up. Mechanized regiment going up there, grabbing points elsewhere. Going up here as well. We got a massive Conscript force moving up here. My Volkskriegs is basically going to be outnumbered and outgunned. Mining up here. There you go. Dieter gives his life in service of Deutschland. There goes Steel Pods moving up. I saw the miner being laid down, so I'm already here upgrading for a support package so I can quickly deal with that before losing an entire squad or just suffering heavy casualties, having a needless retreat there. Volkswagen's pushing eastwards there. Kugelwagen to support there should allow me to have any advantage over a single conscript squad, for example. Seeing as I've not seen him just push the major force here towards the sort of center west, I'm rather thinking whenever in the east it's going to be rather vulnerable and easy to overwhelm. Finally, I go here for doctrine, fortifications, MD-34 on the way to sort of help deal with all the infantry he's got here. Plus, I can lay down S-mines to further stall his infantry. Plus, I suppose if anything's go very sore, I could always get a pack fortify as well. Can't just go out there, not pushing these troops out, which I should be. Further reinforcement. Going for the fuel point again. Steel Pods moving away. Volkswagen's occupying the church. And there go a bit of shooting there. MD-34 forming up support as well. The plan here is, in fact, I know what he's doing with the sandbags on this. My plan is to flank with the MD-34, denying him the effect of his heavy cover from that angle. Not a lot of pressure here, though. And there we go. MD-34 forming up. He's almost got the point rendered neutral again. Actually, I might actually just ignore this, actually, come to think of it, because, you know, that's going to be slow, that's going to be exhaustive. Rather, I just go straight for the fuel point, draw him out of the cover anyways, and force him to attack me, in which case I'm going to have the advantage there. Email comes there, pushed back, pushing up here further onwards. Remaining here in the centre. And we also got a fuel cache up around his carve point, so trying to offset all the harassment I'm doing, but also make it hard for me to just go for his carve point. So, well played there by Tolstoy. No take-up frame as of yet. We have field infirm, that's about it. Constantly taking damage, being suppressed. Volkswagen's charging as units suppressed it, closing in for the kill. A kidnap on the way since I am worried about light vehicles. Constantly taking some damage to the Volkswagen's moving up there to close in with their Kar-98Ks and fire them straight in the face. And there go, pushed away. Shifting to forces towards these. There we go, heavy fighting around the fuel point. Going to try and focus down on the conscripts into the bigger threat. Also, the Kuban, he can actually sort of hit them slightly beyond the light cover there. And I'm in this case utilising his heavy cover against him. I might not be able to go to the fuel point while I'm doing so, but, you know, he's got light cover, I've got heavy cover and a Kugelwagen. That should work out. The forces pushing to the west, they're going through nations. MD-34 is going to take up position to cover against infantry assaults there. Academy of Germany, and there going units out in the open, quickly getting focused down, taking heavy losses there from the Kugel Fult's Grenadier combo. And back at base, nothing further there for Tolstoy. We got no sign of a doctrine from him. Steel Pioneers, there was the conscripts. Going to try and bait them into the MD-34 range, but he does not, well, take the bait there actually. Force versus conscripts, going to the point down the south, and here just setting up sandbags so I can hold the fuel point here again versus him. So basically we're sort of retraining each other's tricks with slightly different armies. Incendiary grenade, they can push back the conscripts, gaining near the centre for a bit there. Academy moving up in this case, on the assumption again he's going for light vehicle. In fact, that's why I'm going for the Puma as well. I've seen no Maxims, no nothing. I'm at this point really still expecting him to rush for a T-70, so I'm basically setting up for a quick T-70, hoping to lock it down rapidly. That's basically the result of these two actions. Otherwise, if I was expecting him, I'd go for the Lukes. But again, my current assumption is he's rushing for a T-70. Based on, well, what most players were doing in these circumstances and what so far I've seen. Constantly moving ahead there, Puma almost done. Remaining here, overall we got most of the map here. Mine's going down there, basically sort of trying to set up here and there to just make it harder for him to attack, push forwards and bleed him out. Which again is also why, went for, fortification. Again, so I can just lay down S-mines here and then just bleed him out, because the S-mines can be quite effective handled properly. Okay, I've pushed away, Puma moving up. Kuban grabbed the point there, and here we go. Further fighting, the Volkswagen still slowly being overwhelmed here by the Russian infantry. Schnelljurgen, toss the incendiary grenade and let's get the scheiße out of here. Puma moving up here to engage, pretty much revealing my hand. His ace taking up, but that might actually further delay him getting anything from it, because now he knows I've got a Puma which can counter most of his stuff, so it might of course be then tempted to push in another direction. In fact, he cancels it. He cancels the tank with tank command there with a rather Puma, which indicates again he's probably going to play in some other direction. And right here, that was probably my mistake there. I should have just waited, but I was really too keen, too eager. Had I just kept the Puma back a bit further, I might have then had it here, and he might not have had other options. So that was a bit of a mistake there by me. Bit of a mistake there. Bit temperamental that evening. Well, generally I am, but the heat isn't helping. Puma setting out there. The Speer Panzer IV 234-2, this specific variant, which never saw that many production numbers. Rather fell towards the 1 and the 234-3 and 234-4 with either a sort of light howitzer or a Pack 40 mounted on it. Sort of more support bits there. Generally, though, armoured cars were not actually expected to engage the enemy. The best missions for them were basically that it didn't have to shoot. That was basically part of the job of the infantry, sort of attached to a reconnaissance unit. But even as the war progressed, they were generally sort of pushed more and more into just acting as another Panzer Grenadier battalion, for example. Little fun fact there. And as all this is happening, the Kuban is just basically blitzing behind all of this, going for his fuel point again. I'm just trying to keep the pressure here. Contra taking heavy damage here for full scale incendiary grenade, steel parts moving up. Might be able to get a wipe there. MG-34 flanking in. No, he gets away. He gets away, does he? Ah, does. And here we go, actually. He's gone for shock motor, and he's gone for double shock troops, bringing up a ton of infantry, to be honest, here. And specifically a lot of heavy infantry. With their, I think they're called steel bibs, at least the Soviets called them these body armor they're wearing, which was roughly only effective as 9mm parabellum bullets, by the way. There they go, just sweeping forwards. And here's the thing, I haven't seen no shock trooper usage in ages, and then suddenly someone going up for double shock troopers, that rather throws me off. And again, that was probably in response to the Puma. Now they'd gone for looks first, just waited a bit, he'd probably gone for something else. But the Puma basically, I think, provoked this double shock trooper move. And, you know, again, I was completely caught off guard because I haven't really seen any heavy shock trooper usage in ages, and certainly not experienced it myself either. In this case, my mind for some reason went to shock rifle. I hadn't paid attention to the commanders he had, and then I figured shock motor, so this is also very important to keep in mind as I'm playing this match. I'm basing all my assumptions on the fact he'll probably eventually go for an IS-2 somewhere down the road, maybe sneaking a KV-8. Shock troops are being holded by the MG-34, delivering a German sermon from the church tower there. Constantly moving up, Mark 4 anti-tank grenade on the looks, trying to flank about here, trying to do some damage. John Park moving towards the centre here, there goes shock troops push back. Big 2 points wise, I've got the lead at the moment. Puma just flying away, there go, Constantly out in the open, going to be drawn into the MG-34 fire. And there go, pushed away. Back base, troops reinforcing, and up for him. Well, we got a field gun, no, cancel the field gun actually. He's moving up, they also note the mine there, just to make it harder to rush for the church. Up north here, Kuban grab the point there. A lot of manoeuvre, but also a lot of infantry there from Tolstoy. Needs push back there, Puma charges forward. In this case, I'm actually going there for the kill cache, hoping to sort of silence it. Luke's moving up here as well, constantly charging forwards. In this case, I'm kind of risking it. With all the troops he's gone for there, I'm rather thinking he doesn't have the resources. The reality is, he does have the resources. He just doesn't have the tech to quickly punish before it. So in a sense, I make the right decision here, I just do it on the wrong ground, but again the thing is, I don't know it. I mean, that's really the sort of the mind games of companies too. Sometimes you just have to make a decision based on what you know and sort of roughly what most players go for. So in this case again, I'm rather still expecting some kind of swift vehicle play, but so far it's not gone for it. Oh, there we go. Around the 30-minute mark, he's actually now going for the tank battalion command. And meanwhile, pulling back my light vehicles, he's just charging 40 shock troopers conscripts. Kuban trying to get away there. And at this point, I think my plan is trying to tag up here next, bring up some heavy armor, but also some Obersoldaten. Got a large full square pushed up there. Field grey men moving up there with the Kar-98Ks clutch in their weary hands. Mine going off, they're killing a few shock troops, not a lot. There we go, conscripts overwhelmed here by the German infantry. Kuban grabbing point there, it's done quite well there really. Looks finally pulling back alongside the Puma. And there go, troops push away, we've got a conscript squad moving up here as well, but again, a lot of Fultz Grenadiers here, a lot of Fultz Grenadiers. And at the same time pushing for the fuel point there, keeping up the pressure around my fuel point as well, trying to ensure I don't rush ahead. And finally we have something there, we have an S6M on the way for Tolstoy and the 85th Rifle Division. There's a lot of manoeuvre here about there, it's not just, you know, charging in there, there's flanking, harassment, counter-harassment, counter-flanks and so on, they're going on between the two sides here. And I'm just sort of being constantly attacked by waves of infantry. In fact, at this point, I actually misread the number of his conscripts are being fired, which just really just made me go, what? Just the heat of battle, because there's just so much infantry there from Tolstoy. And again, the shock troopers really just make most decision making a bit more difficult because they can soak up a lot of damage and just go in for a lot of damage as well. Going for Scoff one again though. S6M there arriving for Tolstoy. Who's moving up here, pushing back the conscripts with his 2cm Kampfwagenkanone. The standard of most German reconnaissance vehicles really. Light armoured cars, half-tracked armoured cars, heavy armoured cars. They pretty much all work on the 2cm sort of autocannon really, with the exception of the Puma. And I suppose the one looks they make with the same turret as the Puma, by the way. But ours was pretty much that. Anything was sort of more like support weapons, like, you know, 234s or 233s, with 2cm howitzers on them, of 75mm howitzers, and then pack 40s in one case. If we can't go straight to the S-mine field, taking quite a few casualties there, not enough, but again, the point is to just slow him down there, lead him out. And right here, for some reason, my Luke's ordered to, you know, pull back. He decided to go that way instead of that way. That frustrated me quite a bit there. Good news by way of tracking there by Tolstoy. He's attacking, reinforcing, healing. Still heading towards the centre. Puma running a bit back. And we got here, just in the truck there. And I'm setting up my own base. I mean, I could try and set up further to support here. The problem is, I'm pretty confident if I try to set up too aggressively, Tolstoy's going to punish me quite hard for it. So rather than take a needless risk, just to sort of gain a bit of security, I'm just going to pop it up inside my base, because I do not want to have to rebuild it. I cannot afford to do that. That's basically me playing as safe as possible. But again, more S-mines here, more to just stop his infantry down and bleeding out. And in fact, see, there's I think a reaction there to the S-mines. He's going for additional engineers with more minesweepers actually. Just a massive blow up him infantry charging into the centre. Well, massive, but large, sizable. Still spare Panzer IV coming out with a manpower floating there. MD-34 shifting about, they're constantly in here. German infantry holding up the eastern side there with a mix of S-mines. They could in theory set up a bunker somewhere, but I don't think it's going to work out very well. Puma back in action here, 4 kills. Shock to here, catching the MD-34 on the back, precision gun MD-34 up there, she probably should pull back to around here. Puma getting a few hits. Conscripts versus Fultz going to do this here. And over here we got Shock 2 charging through state here through the S-mine field. Trying to catch him, but sending grenades, doesn't quite work out. And in fact, looks like I might be wiped there. No. Do I get lucky here? Very lucky. Over here, shock troopers. Again, going for the fuel point, making use of the sandbags. You should be pulled back. And there we go. Obersoldaten on the way for Germany. Kuhlbang here forgot all about. Bad news there. That's going to get wiped. And destroyed. A tragic loss there for Germany. Now again, Tolstoy's just pushing forward, using the sheer weight of all his infantry, the shock troopers, the conscripts. Just barreling through most of what I've got here. Need more troops healing, reinforcing. He's just sort of shifting out elements here and there. Obersoldaten halfway down there to fight for Germany. Deutschland, there they go. Fultz Coast getting wiped out. Retreating there. Veteran to flee, by the way. And that was lucky as well there. Getting a bit lucky there, to be honest. Comes there, pushed back by advancing Fultz Canadira. Still, he's got a nice chunk of the map there, plus the centre. And of course, I still have to worry about the Asian 6 and one wrong move there. My Puma's going to get anti-tank grenaded and knocked out. So Corporal Petrov is just on the hunt for the fascist car and possibly any tanks that might arrive. There you go, Orbslar. Now, I don't have munitions for them, but even then, they do perform reasonably better than most infantry. And if you can then sort of get at least a few squads, they can pack quite a punch. Though, of course, they are expensive, but still, get enough of them, they'll do a bit of damage nonetheless.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
Conscript units moving in there, trying to flank it behind. Folks in a bit of trouble. MD-34 shifting out like Kevin, please retreat as well here. Orbison Fultz is standing about there as well. Better manpower float. And then MD-34 up the conscript. Engineers going straight for the fuel point or cut-off point again. And there goes on versus engineers. Puma versus conscript here, shattering their cover. Like the bags of dirt they are. And there you go, straight into a mine. Almost got the engineers, almost got them wiped. MD-34 setting up. Would it be in time? Another MD-34 recovering here, by the way. And there we go. Engineers wiped, annihilated. Shock troops being in there. Slow push towards here. And Orbison needs to get out there. Push back the engineers. Shock troops, by the way, were actually formed into sort of independent battalions to be able to attach wherever they needed. They were not an organic part, sort of, you know, full formation size. They're just sort of battalions to be attached in there. Constant hold by the MD-34 there. Shock troops into the house. Orbison moving up there with the Car 98 case, and there you go. Constant straight for the core point, straight to the MD-34. Back at base, troops healing, reinforcing. So they're being suppressed, and there you go. Rushing straight for the Orbison down. He did not have enough munitions to hold them, doing a bit of damage then nonetheless, but ultimately pushed away. Victory point there as well, trying to sort of just keep control of the map here versus Tolstoy. Back at base, nothing further there happening besides seeing reinforcement. Asian 6 moving hit, they're trying to catch my Puma, I imagine. And another Obersoldaten squad there for Germany for the 23rd Panzer Division. medic kits up there, by the way, to help heal reinforce, since I don't have a battle group headquarters. In this case, medical supplies tend to work out quite nicely, actually.
You needed fire support?
Conscripts rushing east. He's not going for that point, by the way. He's not going for it. Shock troopers here causing me quite a bit of grief. And there we go. T-70 light tank now on the way for Tolstoy at the 20-minute mark here. And I'm some time off from getting a Panzer IV. But mentioned before then, so Fult's going to deal it. No upgrades as yet for the orbital Dardan. Been spending munitions on a lot of things. Just haven't been saving up for the orbital Dardan, which could, as you know, help me quite a bit there versus all the Russian infantry. But push here in the west, push for the centre, and a bit of infantry in the east as well.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
And a counter push from me into the centre as well there. A lot of action going on here. Storm Pioneers also attacking here. Work. Trying to get like Kevin into get Nation 6. Grenade off, and the Fulskers getting off nasty hit. Main center grenade off, trying to catch the shock troops, not quite working. Of course, in the west as well. Push into here. MD-34. That's the conscripts. Almost 22. Shock troops charging in there. Needs to retreat. There we go. MD-34, they're saving the day. And a unit wiped here. Storm Pioneer Orbital and combo works out nicely. Kevin effort trying to catch us. Work, and instead here, I actually set myself up to getting flanked here by the T-70. Puma's not within range to support. So there you go. Akednev's about to get wiped out by the T-70. Nice work there by Tolstoy. Hectic action left and right here. And there you go, just charging enough the rest of my infantry, trying to rush forward to my Puma. Getting ever close to the Panzer IV. Almost got the forces then. Go, Puma saves the day, veteran 2-1. Well, we got the infantry coming from the other side. They're going to use aim shot to disable his turret, to at least minimise the damage it can do to the rest of my troops. And then for some reason they decide to just turn the turret completely different direction, allowing the T-70 to get away there. But at least the SN6 does not get it. Going for his fuel point again. Not fighting around those. MD-34 carrying the centre as much as they can. My forces are extended. And fresh Fult's going to be moving up there for Deutschland. And there it goes, two bombarding. Eventually two there, hammering away. He's caught here by the other orbital Dardan squad. Quickly bleeding out there if they're not careful. Going for my CoH one again. There you go, finding us the shock troopers also supporting Storm Pioneers. Doing a bit of damage there. They are quite durable, getting the Storm Pioneers up close to softening up. They got a grenade there. Fighting here in the west, lots of explosions going off left and right. Shock troopers pushing, or Fulskers pushing forward. Shock troopers moving in against my lines. Boom almost fixed up. MD-34 being reinforced. And Panzer IV slowly on the way here, losing ground left and right. Orbs on here, quickly retreating, and then straight into a mine, getting wiped. Fult's going to deal in a bit of trouble. Veteran 2-5 though. Be a shame to lose them. And there you go, Puma moving ahead again. Halfway to Veteran 2. In the west, the remaining Orbital squad doing what they can there. Panzer IV halfway done for Germany. Push forwards there. Just moving ahead there. Good hit on the Puma. And it is time actually for the mid-game analysis. In terms of damage, we're actually surprisingly close to kills-wise. He's also surprisingly close to me. I mean, if you look at the units lost and sort of there, I mean, I've only got a small lead over Tolstoy here. Really, again, those shock troops and all the counters, they are surprisingly effective. It seems like he's replaced the country squad there with the shock troops squad as he lost it, but still surprisingly effective when utilised very aggressively there with the sandbags on top of everything. Army value-wise, I had an advantage, but now he's sort of really closing in there. Resource float-wise, been floating a bit there, but overall sort of turning that around, and points held. Again, the only advantage is basically, again, I've got most of the map. So in that sense, it's also not too surprising I've suffered a lot there, but that's really my only advantage. That's basically just, I've got most of the map there, I've got the victory points under control, and somewhat also the resource flow there. So that's really the one advantage I'm working with, sort of really big one in essence there against Tolstoy. He just keeps attacking, keeps bleeding, and keeps hurting me. And certainly losing a unit like the Orbital there is going to hurt quite a bit. I mean, that's 400 manpower just completely gone. Alright, now, Panzer IV on the way. More Orbital, just to provide more pressure, in particular to the Orbital, the shock troopers, in particular, get them upgraded with LMG-34, so that'd be really good. Otherwise, just try and keep up the pressure, try to bleed him out, try to hurt him with the Panzer IV, of course, use the Puma, and then once I've sort of got an idea with the SN6s, use the Panzer IV Spate, then have the Puma flank it and try to deal with it that way. Otherwise, more mines here and there, once I've got the Orbital upgraded, would also be a pretty good choice, and I suppose down the road, further Panzer IVs. As for Tolstoy, well, a bit more of a mix of unities and support weapons for his infantry, I think would be quite good. A few mines here and there would also benefit Tolstoy quite a bit. I mean, in that sense, I think he's only laid down one mine, really. So, I mean, there's a bit of room there for improvement. But otherwise, a few maxims or multi, just something to provide a bit of assistance there for his infantry against me, I think would do Tolstoy quite a bit of good, and perhaps building out his men a bit further. But let's return here to the front and see what happens next. There we go, Puma engaging here. In this case, if I had the munitions, I'd actually go for end shot, since on an assault gun, it basically disables the gun. Then it's kind of like a target wake point from a Stug. And would allow me to basically take his Artillery 6 there. But the problem is, I just got no munitions. We're very close to the 82. Bounty on the advancing Sturm Pioneers. Panzerkampfwagen 4 there arrives for Germany. Moving ahead there for Deutschland. Sturm Pioneer moving ahead, MD-34 supporting. Countries moving ahead as well there. Shock troopers. Gonna flank in, but I've got the Panzer IV there on the way. The Panzerkampfwagen 4. Ausführung J there, or Model J. Which technically wouldn't have any soldiers just, but rather wire mesh shirts by the way there on the sides. Most of the shock troopers goes down to the Panzer IV, either crushed or blasted to bits. Got a Ryan there, fighting in the centre. Conscripts pushed away, and we got a field gun now for Tolstoy. In response here to the Panzer IV, he's going for another H6 there. Not a bad choice either. And as all this is happening, he's sending his T-70 there to flank on the western flank there. Harassing Hickman there, good work. Pushing forward through there, H6 standing watch over the road. Pushing eastwards as well. I mean, the Panzer IV right now is just going to basically act as the backbone to my forces, just sort of keep the infantry supporting. In fact, by 1944-45, that was rather how the Germans operated, sort of tactically with their panzers. Basically, Panzer gun these were going to do is keep the way forward. The Panzer IV won't be supporting them, no sort of panzer charges anymore like early times, simply because, for example, Russian counter tactics. In this case, H6 went down there to the Kedenaffe, good work there. All of a sudden being pushed back by shock troopers. T-70 whacked the MD-34 there, Puma moving in. Panzer moving up to save the day, MD-34 firing in. Shock troopers laying down, or Sturmpanzers laying down a mine. Conscripts just charging forwards. Puma gaining better, T2 almost got the T-70. Two's being suppressed there, grenades going off. The Kedenaffe wiped. Just more troops pushing forward. Sturmpanzers closing in to fleet. All of a sudden doing what they can. MD-34 firing in, pinning down the shock troopers. Panzer IV firing, but not quite getting any hits there. Sturmpanzers pushing back conscripts. Left and right. Puma moving up to support here a bit. Other H6 moving in as well. MD-34 wiped out. Panzer IV gets hit on the retreating conscript. And folks are advancing up there. Charging straight into the centre of things. Sturmpanzers close to getting wiped. Don't need to retreat, but there you go. Shock moving up. Just trying to manage too much here. And there you go. Sturmpanzers wiped. Betcha 2 for these shock troopers. Puma going in after the S-26. They're trying to save the Panzer IV assist. Allowing my Panzer IV to deal with other things. Orbs on here. Wiped. Basically, what I'm trying to do is use the aim shot on the S-26 there. Again, knocking out his gun for a bit there so I can get with the Puma. But in the process, I lose the shock troopers and the orbs on. Quite heavy there. And probably not worth, you know, the S-26. I suppose I did save the Panzer IV as well, so there you go. S-6 is down, he's got one T-70, but the infantry losses for me have been quite catastrophic. All I've got left now are my Volks grenadiers. That is bad news. That is very bad news. Centre of the map there has been quite brutally annihilated. Puma pulling back close to veteran defeat. If I get it there, that would be good, since that would actually help the versus infantry quite a bit. Panzer IV making way back, almost Vetri 1, MB-34 crewed. Shock troopers charging forwards again. All squads Vetri 2, and some of them close to Vetri 3 already. MB-34 hidden amongst the corpses of its comrades, firing in there, but ultimately retreating. Simply too many shock troopers. Getting repairs enacted there, losing the field point. Another field, oh, finally getting a field gun there against Tolstoy. He's lost quite a bit there again, 2 S-6s. Quite a few hits there.
AT gun is ready for combat.
Troops bringing the bay back. Sturmpanzers moving up to help repair. Troops reinforcing. And there you go. Forces engaged with the T-70 light tank. Cut up the point there. Also, here's a fun fact about the regular Panzer Battalion, the Panzer Division for, well, I think 1943-44. They were actually expected to, in those regular Panzer Battalions, not the Panther Battalion, by the way, they were two separate entities until much later in the war, where there was this, well, you know, they took whatever they could get, but they were actually, you know, well, at least on paper, supposed to have a series of Panzer IIIs, specifically with flamethrower version of the Flampanzer III. There goes Shock troopers going from MD-34s, going to have to double in to deal with that somehow. Renders my point neutral. Panzer IV being dispatched there. Right now I'm rather on the back foot against Tolstoy, again losing all the infantry. Really hurt my map control there. Grenade there being suppressed. And pushed away. Panzer IV moving in trying to get them. We're finding here, folks, straight to the shock troopers, wasn't paying attention. There we go, quick retreat. Very hasty, beating a very brave retreat, if anything. There you go, Panzer IV trying to get those shock troopers, troops reinforcing, healing. Puma sending out again. Academy of also recruited now here by Tolstoy, adding him more anti-tank weaponry. And he goes shock troop engaged here by the Puma. Getting a single kill there again. Close again, veteran defeat. That's really just where I want the Puma to be. There we go, veteran 2-1 for the Panzer IV. And contributing up against the Puma, being pushed a bit about there. Damaged engine. And for some reason the Panzer IV turns to the singular man, not sort of where the rest of the force is, to sort of just shoot into that. That was a bit annoying. Shock trooping up here again, single-handedly pushing back the Sturm Pioneers. So the force going to do this, no chance of sort of holding a veteran to 2 shock troops caught like that. Field gunner Kedmo coming ahead, Echelon's T-70 holding back there, and another Panzer IV down the way, more anti-infantry. Again, I'm working on the assumption of an IS-2, but again, no, I've done some damage, I've been able to control the fuel points, so I'm not too worried there. And again, I rather figure if he can break his infantry before the IS-2 hits, the Panzer IV will also be able to much more easily deal with the IS-2 on their own merits. That's basically the thought here. Cover there. Crushed under the weight of the Panzer IV shots. Trying to crush here, getting some hits, there you go. Immediately crushing half the unit. Another man. My god, Tito, where did you learn to drive like that? Berlin. Oh, that explains it. Shock troopers engineers going in there. Gefreiter Fritz holding the line, but ultimately has himself outdone there by the shock troopers. T-70 up support here. Going up here, trying to catch the shock trooper. But he's actually hitting them there, right there. Basically meaning if I just look there, I won't see them. So that's actually sneaky there by Tolstoy. Finally though, 2nd Panzer IV there arrives for Germany. For the 23rd Panzer Division.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
And there you go. Panzer IV moves ahead. Straight to all the Academy of field guns here. Down to half health already. That was a bit of a nasty surprise there. Pulling back the Panzer IV as quickly as I can. Tolstoy will just in control of the map here. Victory points wise, so do have a slight lead over him. And then of course I realise now there's shock troops waiting about there.
We are losing territory.
Shock troops get there and straight into the Panzer IV getting crushed. Do not worry, Sergei. That rumbling is just the rumbling of the German belly. Really? Yes! Crunch. Oh, maybe not. There goes shock troops out in the open. There's the forces of Sturm Pioneers taking a few losses, but overall standing strong there. Quick grenade, they're more fighting in the east as well. Folks are being swarmed here by a Russian horde. Puma doing what they can, their aim shot, hoping to perhaps catch a few units there with one hit, but no luck there. Might get attacked with anti-tank grenades and get wiped out if they're not careful. Panzer IV up here, shock troopers, low in health numbers. And Panzer IV here back for repairs. Also got a bit of manpower there, could go for a packed full fleet, but in the current circumstances of all the infantry and all the shock troopers, I don't think it's going to be a very good idea, so instead I'm just probably going to go for more Orbital here, try to punish the infantry much more. There you go, Puma caught here, heavy losses, heavy damage. And ultimately my plan is essentially just try and flank behind all of his anti-tank men here, get them possibly get the T-7 as well, infantry keeping a bit occupied from the front. Panzer IV rushes in a bit too close, they should have gone further behind there, but either way going in, veteran T2 takes it from Kednev and the field gun. Gets damage engine there, Panzer IV getting behind, almost got there, go T-70 down, but the Panzer IV almost down like Kednev there. Misses at point blank range, forces moving up, Panzer IV down. Trying to get the field gun there, MD-34 supporting, troops moving out. And the shock troopers just blitz through the ruins there. While the Panzer IV trying to avoid getting knocked down, end up with the previous one. Smoke grenades down, getting crushed by the Panzer IV. 9 kills for Deutschland. Looks like the field gun actually gets away there, but more Obersoldaten. More elite German infantry. We got another field gun there on the way for Tolstoy. And concentrating up there, but they might get crushed if they're not careful. Or not. MD-34 forces moving forwards, Orbison on the way.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Miss right there, going for the centre, back at base. Going points here and also beginning to salvage some of the wreckage there to sort of build up fuel from one Panzer IV. And of course he's playing for the ISU here. And again I'm completely not expecting it because it's ever so rare to actually see someone go for shock motor. Obviously, overall, just rare at the moment, he's don't go for any kind of shock doctrine. The shock motors is completely out of the blue for me. I'm just not expecting it because I wasn't quite paying attention to his commands again. That would be one big mistake there. That's one big mistake there. Repeatedly missing the advanced up shock troopers, a bit annoying there. Conscious pushed away, going for the cop point again. Field gun, they're moving ahead. Overall, just trying to push back there so I might control the map. And there you go, Obersoldaten once more. Not getting a lot of hits there with the Panzer IV though, despite them actually not really having much of a cover bonus there, I think. But oh well. Field guns being hit like Kedner for lots of infantry. 214 versus 205 here. Very close. Moving up the WMD-34 support in the centre there. Orbison moving ahead as well. Still an upgrade. Not enough munitions. Just munitions going for everything else, including a lot of grenades. And there you go. Severe hits on the Panzer IV. Trying to get us some hits. There's Orbison covering. And here in the east, shock troopers immediately treating the Volksgruppe since they have no chance there. 1-on-1. Or shock troopers are pretty much going to win. Unless it's someone going up against veteran fleet stormtroopers who pull off a good time tactical advance. There you go, WMD first firing in there to the horde in the centre. Orbison doing the cancer conscripts with another one on the way there. More hardened veterans of the 23rd Panzer Division. Until the armor prism runs to increase damage. Panzer IV pulling back. And there you go, barrage from the field gun, the SIS-3.
Combat unit ready.
Protect the flank!
Repairing there.
Enemy forces
Grabbing
are
points,
capturing our
grabbing points here
supplies.
as well. Panzer IV fixed up, and there you go, quick engagement. Shock troops moving in there as well. Need to bring up the Panzer IV there, or maybe some additional Orbison, but there you go. Also can finally upgrade one squad at the very least. Being hunted down here, Panzer IV sets up for Das Vaterland, while I'm again just now focusing on the victory points to a certain extent, but also the fuel point. Again, just trying to stall the IS-2 I'm worried about. And certainly again, having seen no light vehicles after losing the 206s and the T-70, I'm very much now really just severely anticipating an IS-2 there, some kind of heavy armour. Holding the centre here desperately. Twisting about here, also moving upwards, Volksgruppe as well, Panzer IV firing in. And a push up here, lots of infantry plus anti-tank weapons. S-minefield there, by the way, remains. He hasn't even bothered with that point specifically. Kind of funny that. There you go, Panzer IV moving up here, troops suppressed. Panzer IV goes in for the crush. Hittet die... Ah, scheiße, ist retreated. Now we can't run some over. Can't. Scheiße. Still not great on the Orbison down, definitely need to get that doing something. They're kind of caught here in the MD-34 rather closely. Orbison doing what they can, there's so much action. Again, just so much infantry, just attacking left and right. And really the shock troopers have really forced me to be a lot more cautious, because if I don't pay attention, that's a wipe there. That's not something I want. There you go, another Panzer IV, another Panzerkampfwagen 4. Tolstoy is getting very close there to the ISU. Finally, LMG-34 on the way for the Obersoldaten. Increased firepower versus the Russian masses. Infantry moving up here, trying to deal with the shock troops and my also on Panzer IV, while the Volks then rush for his field guns, pushing them away, or threatening them at the very least. Shot bounce, shock troops are taking losses. Quick incendiary grenade there for Deutschland, for das Vaterland. Ludwig, not into fire, you Dummkopf! Not into fire! Didn't your master teach us that? He's being pushed back by the Volksgruppe there, charging 14, filming up to set occupy here, cover that area. I'm just sort of trying to play as aggressive as I can, just sort of trying to occupy any vital points and pushing back from those. There we go, another LMG-34. And another Panzer IV for the 23rd Panzer Division. And he's getting very closer to the ISU 152, the Schwero boy, the beast killer. Troops falling back here, waiting for the Panzer IV to support them. Meanwhile, MG-34 carrying the point here, covered by another MG-34. Sizable assault there from Tolstoy into the centre. And again supported here by two Panzer IVs. And an MG-34 covering just a bit there on the right flank as well. Constantly moving ahead there, but they're getting focused on by the correction machine guns with the Panzer IV, the main gun. We could see a wipe. And he's wiped. Underestimate the Panzer force there. Unit in the church here. Troops suppressed, field guns moving ahead here. Could try and move up the MG-34's better to support there. Going for the point here as well. Shock troopers pushing in again. Panzer force pulling away to deal with the threats in the west. Using their superior numbers. And of course firepower for Deutschland. Oberstdorf moving in there. With an MG-34 to add pressure. Could of course consider throwing on some machine guns and my Panzerkampfwagen 4s for increased anti-infantry as well. That would certainly benefit me. But ultimately going up here. In this case, I'm rather expecting him to pull the same trick, you know, again, trying to hide it. Again, it's a clever trick. The problem is, against an attentive player, it's only going to work once. I mean, you know, Napoleon sort of talked about, you know, you can only pull off tricks so many times before your opponent catches on to you. But then you want a very big bag of tricks and don't try to repeat them too often, at the very least here.
We are losing territory.
There goes shock troop pushed back there by the Panzer IVs, almost wiping them out. Good having points there. But almost got the shock troops either pulling back. He's moving up to tank weapons. In this case, it's also good at pulling back my Panzer IVs to attack another elsewhere. Shock troop assaulting to the center again. Vegetatively, so many. Shots flying in there. He's close to the ice chute, but the manpower bleed is hurting a bit here. The Panzer IVs, the Oberstdorf are having an effect there. And note there, that was actually a blend curve to just sort of push through. But he actually stands, he tried to grab the point there. But he's taking damage, and there you go. Panzer IV shoots excellently, wiping out half the shock trooper squad. Trying to get a few more hits, and we got the MG force going up here. They'll probably try and focus down his shock troopers down the retreat and wipe them out. And there we go. Thanks to the blend curve. Dead. Anti-tank guns going up. The Panzer IV pulling back. Almost got the shock troops there alongside the church, which certainly has a very big gaping hole there in the front. So I'm a bit back in control here of the map, though again not all safe. And there you go. You can finally call up the ISU, and there we go. And again, as soon as I hear that, I'm thinking IS-2. I mean, that's again all I've sort of thought about there. So I'm just making that assumption. That means I'll be bringing up a Jagdpanzer. Simply because, again, you know, that's going to help a bit. There's the ISU, though, not so much. Actually, not ISU supported by a lot of anti-tank weapons. There goes some attacking here. Force getting wiped out there by the shock troopers. Bit of a loss there. Get the heroes. Iron cross holders, and there you go. Quick grenade there on all the units. Got one field gun, in fact. Got one with the Oberstdorf down in there. Geballte Ladung. Jagdpanzer on the way there. IS-2 charging forwards. At this point, I'm pretty sure just cancel the Jagdpanzer, going for another Panzer IV. But in this case, kind of think, you know, it's gonna work. It's gonna work-ish. I mean, it's terrible, but I've got two Panzer IVs, so it's kind of gonna work. No need to go for a third Panzer IV, though I probably should have. And the 34 can just support here, keeping the right flank safe. Troops suppressed, going for the centre. Repairing my Panzer IVs. Jagdpanzer still on the way. Also mines down there to prevent him harassing there easily. Victory points wise, I've got the lead now of Tolstoy here. Good old Tolstoy. Field gun pulling back for reinforcement again. He's got that one here basically abandoned in front of the church. And now I've got myself a bit of breathing space there. Fixing the Panzers, and there you go. Yeah, Panzer 470, though technically the actual name would have been a Panzer 4-70. There was basically an attempt to make the Allies believe the Germans had actually managed to throw on a 70mm gun, or the high velocity gun from the Panther onto the Panzer IV. Technically they have, but not quite in an actual Panzer form. Also late 1944, any Panzer battalion could also have these ones, not just regular Panzer IVs, for example, so little fun fact there as well. Also moving ahead there, yeah, MG-34 being pushed back here, and there you go, basically blitzing in there, trying to get behind it. He's actually severed his anti-tank in there, so I can actually sort of use the training a bit to cover it. Damage engine though. Shots bouncing. A lot of shots bouncing off the ISU, 152. Jagdpanzer gets a penetrating hit, that takes a hit though. Panzer IV getting a few penetrating hits in the rear. Another bounce. Panzer IV, main gun destroyed. Raketenwerfer forgets it. Almost got the ISU. Jagdpanzer needs to pull back, but I have to push forwards here. I push forwards, which actually draws the fire on the anti-tank weapons, allowing Panzer IV taking a few more shots, but as you might be figuring, that Jagdpanzer IV ultimately won't manage much. While I try to escape here, it's simply too late. The ISU knocks it out. Panzer IV trying to knock it out there. All of a sudden, Nemo trying to deal with the infantry alongside the MG-34. So unit right inside the house there. That was one MG-34, by the way. 23 points left there for Tolstoy. He's probably focusing a little on the Panzer IV, trying to do with his ISU. Shot just keeps bouncing. There we go. One penetrating hit there, almost 52. Troops guarding the points here as much as they can. And there you go, ISU down, and then blitzing the hell out of here, going straight through his base. Meanwhile, going over towards the west with minesweeper units. Troops carrying the center here. 7 points left. Grenade down the Volksgrenadiere. And roughly GG here. There you go, GG, well played. Didn't manage to get very GG before this was all over anyways, but there you go, game over. A victory there for Germany, for Deutschland, rather close at times. Just sort of look at damage-wise, he's a hit, kills-wise, I'm a hit though. Rather managed to pull through there thanks to the Panzer IVs, which rather, I think, pulled rather serious duty there for Deutschland. So a rather grueling match there in part because I just wasn't expecting heavy shock to play again. I haven't seen it in ages, so mentally I wasn't quite prepared, to be honest. Would rather gave him an edge there, though again, had I not pushed the Pumas so quickly, I might have been able to pull some tricks there, but again, I was got too impatient there, unknowingly. So I mean, again, but overall, an interesting game here, so displaying, mind games, and again, decisions you can make, trying to make the right decision, ultimately kind of making the wrong ones, and then sort of trying to pull through sheer stubbornness and other bits there. I probably would have benefited more with the doctrine, but again, I rather like the S-mines at times. Found them useful, utilised properly. I just wasn't able to utilise them much this match, so I probably done better off either with Spec Ops or with Luftwaffe ground forces. But I managed with what I had there, I suppose. The Panzer, more or less as usual, ended up being a waste there, but I tried, again expecting the IS-2 and just went with it anyways. But had I gone for a third Panzer IV, probably could have performed better there overall. So a little thought there. I made some mistakes there, but overall did some damage. All tried to focus on aggressive tactics, trying not to be too defensive, allowing him to dictate the tempo. Tried to always push it back, tried to flank him, tried to halt him, tried to harass him. He just tried to keep up the tempo. That was really the important thing. Just in short, he couldn't breathe easily either and just keeps attacking me, because once you just really hand over the tempo to a certain player who's really going, you're really going to struggle there. So I just tried to push back as hard as I could, and the Panzer IVs, I think, were rather instrumental here in showing the victory there, since they could just really punish the infantry, particularly once I got a few of them. Without those, I probably would not have made it. In that sense, just basically say, right now, for the Oberkommanders, the Panzer IV is just the best armor they have. The Jagdpanzer, again, due to its lack of anti-infantry, and otherwise it just doesn't do much, and the Panther, again, lacks sufficient anti-infantry to really be much of an effect there either. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gives you different matches. If you did want to subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. And of course, comment on it as well. And of course, feel free to send in your own replays that do provide some comments and a link to where you are on the leaderboards. That would also be very much appreciated. Links are in the video description, also with links to where you can donate, for example, if you feel like that. But this is ImperialDane signing off, and see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Cheers, everybody.